Good morning once again, beautiful people. This is Gene Bard Busico Jr. coming before you with yet another random thought, hopefully some insight that I'll be able to lend to us all. And it's actually a continuation of that first two segments that I launched a few weeks ago titled How to Cherish Your Life. This would be titled How to Cherish the Life of Others. So here goes, guys. I mean, of course, you remember, the first two times around how important it was or is that we realize just how beautiful and impactful life is, and not to take away from or underestimate how valuable life actually is. I still stand by that, and I cannot stress that enough. However, in terms of challenging or rather cherishing the life of others, sorry guys, I got up not too long ago and I'm about to start my day, but I don't think I got enough sleep. But hey, I'll run on whatever fumes I'm running on right now. And I wanted to bring this to you guys as raw as possible and as random as possible as these, if you want to call them thoughts or revelations or whatnot, actually occur to me. So to continue, in terms of how to cherish the life of others, one of the most important factors you have to, and I say have to, this is mandatory, take into consideration is honesty. And what I mean, before we become honest with anyone else, we be honest with ourselves. To elaborate, understand exactly where you happen to be at every given point of your life. Self-awareness. Why do I say that? In this world of goodness, reality TV and social media and newscasts and so many things happening in our world centered around, if you really evaluate relationships, broken relationships. I mean, scroll down any average social media page and I venture to say a good 80 to 90% of those either memes or videos are all in one way, shape, or form centered around relationships. Either a relationship that's going great or one that is no longer or one that's not going so great. Newscasts, goodness, everything from, abuse or domestic violence or a child that's harmed themselves or parents or a spouse that's harmed themselves as well as the other person, and things end in tragedy. Okay, so again, as heavy as this subject matter is a reason why I titled it Cherishing the Life of Others. Because one aspect of cherishing your own life, obviously, is to realize how precious life really is and how valuable it is. The same is to really, truly take a moment. If you've really internalized how precious and valuable your life is, then one would venture to say it should be a given that the lives of others are equally valuable and precious. That pause was intentional for that thought to resonate in your mind and hopefully radiate into your heart. And I alluded to honesty earlier. Mind you, it may seem as though I'm all over the place, but I state things and I put them out there, if you will, in order to put the pieces together as I continue. So I mentioned honesty with oneself, and being aware as to where you happen to be within yourself at every given point in time. The reason I say that is because we tend to find or discover things or people that we find to become appealing or be appealing to us. And so naturally, as human beings, whether it's a job or another person or someone or something that's attractive, our natural tendency is to put our best foot forward, to appear as appealing. We want to appear as appealing as possible and polished and capable and willing to engage a person or a particular role, be it a date or a girlfriend or a job or a particular profession. We want to groom ourselves and present ourselves as positively as possible in order to basically portray to that other individual or that group of people that we are the right fit, we are willing, we are able, we are eager, we are interested, we are capable. Not that there's anything wrong with that. However, here's what's very important. I mean, very important. And that will actually help to avoid so many unnecessarily hurtful and, dare I say, tragic outcomes in terms of relationships and partnerships, both personal and professional. Honesty with oneself in terms of where you happen to be in your capability. Why do I say that? If you study human beings, if you study the psychology of human beings and you really delve into that information, and the beautiful thing about the internet and things, of course, like, YouTube, there are so many resources available to us that give us really basic foundations as to what the basic human needs are for people. There's a general set of needs that every human being happens to have, and it's general to every specific human being that is on this planet. It's just that we don't all emphasize the needs in the same measure. Some people may need security or certainty more than others. Some people may need affection more than others. Some people just may need communication more than others. Some people may need trust more than others. We know those basic human needs. There are basic human needs that we all have. Why did I refer to our capability? If we happen to know where we are and what we are capable of investing or bringing to the table for someone else, once we begin to get to know a person, and if we've truly understood ourselves and where we happen to be, then the responsible thing to do is to take an honest look at yourself, where you are, what you know your tendencies happen to be, and what you know your habits are, and what you know your thought process, your way of thinking. If you take an honest look at what they are, looking at yourself honestly, regardless as to how appealing that person, that venture, that job, that role may be, if you know after you've begun to learn what it is that other person needs or what they value, and they're telling you those things honestly, if you are able to take a look at yourself and you know that this person, oh boy, they really value communication, but you know that you're that type of person that you kind of really just generally don't have a lot to say. You don't feel it's necessary. You don't see that as a need. Or if that other person maybe values financial security or certainty, and you're the type of person that, I just like to, shop around, keep my options open, date maybe a couple times, 3 times or 4 times. And you know what? I just prefer to, move on to the next person after maybe a few weeks. If you realize that job has very specific requirements, and you may have some general exposure to some of the qualifications, but not all. The responsible thing to do, if we're going to cherish the lives of others, is to be honest with ourselves and take a look at ourselves and say, well, I know that this is not the kind of person that I really am. And so what I'm not going to do is set a false expectation for this person, especially given how straightforward they have been about what their needs are. I'm not going to present myself as something that I know that I truly am not, simply because in the short term, I want to experience the emotional or physical high of becoming physically closer and booed up with this very attractive appearing person, and just get what I need, get that fulfillment, either emotional or sexual fulfillment from this person, knowing that in the long term, deep down inside, that's not what I truly am or who I truly am. I'm not going to do that and cause this person to become invested in me under false pretenses, or I'm not, knowing that I have not obtained this certification or this specific set of expertise, I'm not going to falsify things just to lead them to believe that I'm capable of fulfilling that role when I know I do not have that skill set. Now, this may rub a lot of you the wrong way. And to challenge your challenges, and I'm correct, challenge your challenges, to challenge the things that will come to mind for you to say as a rebuttal to me. Well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Hey, favor isn't fair. Especially a lot of our more spiritual people, a lot of us, we hear these famous preachers or these famous motivational speakers that says, favor isn't fair. You may not have the qualifications. You may end up with that job. The person may have a degree. You may only have a high school diploma, and somehow, some way, you'll be blessed. Let's think about that more critically. Think about police officers. Think about doctors. Think about surgeons. Air traffic controllers. Very important roles in society that executing that role properly could literally mean life or death, or has an immediate impact on the well-being of not just one, but many people. And think about that reasoning, favor isn't fair. And so you're there, you're in the role, but you don't have all the qualifications. Whereas a person who's trained and put in the time to work on themselves, to obtain that skill set and that knowledge, in order to become capable or demonstrate or practice that capability in that role, they'll be able to think more quickly. They'll be able to apply the knowledge they've obtained in a way that will save a person's life or help a person to feel better or execute a process more quickly versus you who maybe has to Google it. Or from a personal standpoint, that person who has become somewhat reliant upon you or codependent based on certain things that you've presented yourself as being capable or willing or even eager to do. Because naturally, as human beings, that's what we tend to do. Oh my goodness, I see these capabilities in this person. They become convinced that you are that person who's capable of fulfilling that need. We all, as human beings, have needs. But down the road, they're maybe in a tight spot, or maybe they're just down and they just need someone to talk to. And you're not that kind of communicating person. They just want you to, be a listening ear, or they want to bounce things off you and ask you for ideas and input because, hey, you've presented yourself as that kind of person that would love to partner up with them and make yourself mentally or emotionally available to them. And so naturally, you become a go-to person. You become a person they rely on. Now, months in, deep down, that's not how you are. And this person is really in a tight spot. And versus going to maybe family members or seeking out a professional, they come to you first because they've begun to open themselves up and trust you. And so they're telling you about a problem that's very weighty that could impact maybe their desire or ability to, maybe change jobs or, continue speaking with a particular relative or something just really meaningful or impactful in their personal life. And all they're getting from you is, I hear you. Yeah, that's tough. Without realizing it, what we've done is we've given this person a false sense of security by not being completely upfront, first of all, with ourselves and with them. Please don't misunderstand this to be something that is accusatory. This is something that is compassion oriented. Compassion oriented. It's no different than if, and I have been in this scenario, and thank God there was someone who was capable to address the situation, present. It certainly wasn't me. I'll say this. It's a personal experience. My wife and I, months ago, we were on vacation in Orlando, Florida during our son's birthday. And we were at one of those, timeshare meetings where they were trying to, sell us a vacation package. And we're sitting at the table listening to the salesperson. And all of a sudden, there was a somewhat older person who begun to become visibly weak in the knees and actually faint and fall back onto the floor. I immediately became very shaken and disturbed, and I knew I could do absolutely nothing. And I began to hold this person by the arms as they fell back, but that was all I could do. Thank God there were two people present, and they began to, based on their profession, they're registered nurses. They began to ask specific questions I'm familiar with having heard in a hospital setting, but I don't have the skill set to do that. And they would state, hey, ma'am, I'm a nurse. How are you feeling? Follow my finger. They began to test this person's awareness. Are they aware? What day is it? They knew specific things to ask that person. Why am I saying this to you all? That is the reason why I say, from the sense of cherishing the lives of others. Let's put that on the flip side. Say if of course, again, I don't have that medical skill set, but I began to try to do what I can and maybe tell the person, hey, turn over on your side, sit up, try to breathe. I need you to do this and do that. And I'm just kind of winging it. I'm genuinely concerned, but yet I'm placing myself in a role I know that I'm not capable of fulfilling. And the things I'm doing or attempting to do, it may be coming from a genuine place, but I just don't have the skill to do this. And I could actually, literally, in a very real sense, cause this person more harm than good. Versus stepping aside when a person who says, hey, I got this, I'm a medical professional, I'm a doctor, or I'm a nurse, hey, I'll take it from here. Thank you so much. I saw what you just did. That same mentality is the exact motivation as to why I'm saying this to us all. Being honest with ourselves. If you want to truly cherish the lives of others, before you engage yourself in any role, professional or personal, understand the needs of all people. Be willing to have honest conversations with the person you want to engage in, or with rather. And when you begin to hear where they are mentally or emotionally, and you begin to find out what's important to them, if you know that's not who you are, it's only responsible and respectful not to try to take upon yourself a role you know you're not capable of fulfilling. That does not go to say that you may not aspire to develop and evolve. Okay? So I don't want to shoot anyone's hopes down and try to say, well, you're disqualified, step out of the way for someone who is. That's not the goal of this, what I'm sharing with you. The goal is to get us to really stop and think. If we did this more often, I am 150% confident that the heartbreak, the tragedy that we see going on in the world every day, it wouldn't happen. Easier said than done, I know, because what we do and we have a tendency to do as human beings is think about our needs. Well, I have a need to have someone in my life. I have a need to want this job or that job, or I need money. But when we present ourselves and are more concerned with just our needs than the needs of others, that just basically creates imbalance. It creates expectations that were, by default, they become false expectations that we set. Whether it was our intention to be dishonest, but by default, there is a lack of balance in terms of honesty because we presented ourselves as being capable or able to do something we weren't really capable of doing. So what I'm saying is, for us to cherish the lives of others, let us take an honest look at ourselves, find out who we are, find out what we are. If we begin to see things that we could do to maybe increase our energy in terms of just, hey, becoming a more positive-minded person, becoming that kind of person that's glass half full, or becoming a better communicator, becoming a better, if you will, provider, or putting ourselves in a better position where we evolve on the inside and do the work on us and take care of and love ourselves correctly, then yes, once you take that look at that other person, or that other job or whatever skills we chose to add to our repertoire or resume. Then we'll be able to feel more, well, capable. Our conscience will be clear. We'll have honest communication, and we'll be able to just present ourselves to whomever, wherever. And if we learn about that person, what they are, and we know that, hey, yeah, this is the kind of person I am, then we'll be able to have confidence and set realistic expectations. That's the framework for building something that's real and that will last. God bless you guys. I love you.